2026 is going to be the last model year for this design for the Sierra half tons, and I figured it'd be a perfect time to do a comparison for the AT4 and the X. But here's the question, which one should you get? We'll answer that here in a second. I borrowed these two trucks from Jerry Seiner, GMC, here in South Jordan, Utah. They are both available for sale. Be sure to ask for Jesus. Let's go ahead and check out the window sticker, starting with the AT4, and then I'll show you guys the X next. Now this 2026 Sierra 1500 AT4 has a starting price of $66,800. Now you guys see here it does have the premium package, preferred package, and the technology package. You guys see it's going to come in those packages there. And this one also has upgraded tires too, so it has the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT tires. Destination is $25.95 for a total price of $75,150. The X has a base price of $79,400, but you guys see here there's really only one option because the active exhaust comes apart with the 6.2 liter now. Destination is $25.95 for a total price of $83,890. When you consider the base price of these two trucks, the X is going to cost you an additional $12,600. So that means we have to find 12 grand worth of benefits on the X. Now for me personally, I already see the biggest one, and I can knock off about 4 grand on the pricing on this truck, just saying, because of that front bumper. But it doesn't just stop there. Let's go ahead and check out the grille for the AT4. So the grille has like a grayish accent. I would call that black chrome maybe. And you guys see it does have a camera right here, so this truck does have 360 camera standard. Now on this X, I'm sorry that the truck is dirty, but you guys see it has a bronze accent on that front grille, and the design of it is totally different compared to the AT4. I would say that it has a more rugged front grille, has that 360 camera too, and you guys see you just have a more overbuilt front bumper, and the ground clearance is where you really see the benefit on the X. If you're after ground clearance, my goodness, that's got to be 6 to 8 inches. It could even be more than that for sure. You also have better protection. Now there is a AEV edition that will offer more protection underneath, and you get the off-road bumper out back. Now here is a quick peek at what you get for protection. So on this truck you have a plastic trimming right there, that's like splash protection, and then you have like an aluminum skid plate right there. And on this side again, you just have that steel skid plate. Also you have what looks to be the same skid plate right there for like the independent front suspension. Now as far as the fender flares go, there is a difference on those for sure, but not a big difference. Now on the front end, I would say I could see that this truck has a better off-road bumper. If you're going off-road, this is the truck you want, and this bumper does have the capability to get a winch installed too. It's not available for this regular AT4. Both trucks do have parking sensors. Now let's go ahead and talk about wheels and tires and suspension up front. Starting with the AT4, you do have a pretty aggressive tire that is an option, right? So these are the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs. This is going to be a 265/60 20-inch wheel versus the exact same tire, just in a different size. This is an LT 275/70 18-inch wheel, which I like so much better. However, as far as height goes, you can't get 34.5s, you can't get 35s. You have a 33.2-inch tall tire here and a 32.5-inch tall tire for the AT4. So that's only 0.7 inches difference in height, and that's not really an advantage because, you know, tires squish. So it doesn't make a big difference in the height because they both have a 2-inch lift on them too. Now as far as the width goes, they are a little bit wider tire on the X as well, but again, it's not something you'll really be able to tell on these trucks. But the biggest advantage that you'll see for the X is going to be the suspension. This truck does have the Multimatic DSSV. Now this does not have an active suspension, which hopefully next generation of this truck it will have active suspension, but it does not use deflective disc like you'll see on this regular AT4. This just has those cheapo Rancho shocks. Nothing wrong with them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they get the job done just like any other suspension, but the reality is you're not going to have the cooling that this suspension has, and I think the ride is better with the Multimatic DSSV for the half tons for sure. You can even see how much more overbuilt those coils are in comparison to. But as far as the upper and lower control arms and the steer knuckle, there's going to be no difference because both trucks do have additional ride height. Okay, they both also have a fabric liner for the wheel well, but you see right there you do have a longer mud flap compared to the X, and that's going to help with ground clearance. Here are those high clearance steps, which is available for both trucks. You see more like that grayish chrome, black chrome here, bronze, and mirrors. Nothing really changes. They also have puddle lights, smart key system for both sides. You also have like a high gloss black around the windows here, and I gotta show you really quickly. So you see the skid plate for your transfer case? Let's see what it has for the X. So a little bit more protection, but if you get the AEV edition, I mean, you can get everything protected underneath this truck here. So let's keep on moving back. Here's the biggest advantage that the AT4 has over this X: bed size. If you want the standard bed for the AT4, that is available. However, you cannot get that for the X, and it gets worse. If you need more payload, GM offers a Carbon Pro package that gives you a carbon fiber bed, and it does increase the payload by a decent amount, I would say. That is not available for this X. I think personally it should come standard, but they don't make it available at all. Now that power sliding glass with defrost does come standard for X. That is an option for this AT4. Now both trucks do come standard with the Multi Pro tailgate. You guys see cameras, light there. If you pop this down, it also has a step. Okay. For the AT4X, same thing. They both have the camera provisions too, if you plan on towing a trailer. However, this kicker sound system does come standard for X, but it gets worse for the AT4. Let's look underneath the trucks. An off-road truck should always have at least an off-road tire to get you back to civilization. But on the X, it gives you a matching wheel and tire, so you pretty much can do a rotation with all five, okay? Now, if you're looking underneath this AT4, if you get stuck out in the middle of nowhere, that's what they give you to get back. That won't work for most people. So, again, I call the AT4 more of a sport truck and a sport appearance pickup. And obviously, you guys saw on the window sticker, you do have an automatic locker for the AT4. And did you guys notice the difference too on these rear ends? They look to be the same. One more time. We'll go on this side, however, so you guys can see. Is there a difference? Nope, they look to be the same. However, they're not, because you have electronic locker out back and up front. On the AT4, you're gonna have an open diff. Now, I'm sure you guys saw on the window sticker, this truck did have an automatic locking rear diff, but on the front, just so we're on the same page, has an open diff. Both trucks do have a fabric material for the liner out back, and Multimatic as far as the AT4 goes, Ranchos. But look at the leaf pack here. You have 3 leaves in the main pack for the AT4. And look at how more overbuilt the leaf pack is for the X. You would think this truck would have better payload, better towing capacity, but that's just not the case, which you'll see here soon. I call this a disadvantage for the X because you can get the diesel option or the V8 option for both of these trucks. There's no difference in horsepower and torque, and hopefully for the next generation of Sierra they fix that, because $12,600 difference in price should give you more performance at the very least. But this X and AT4 have the 6.2 liter, good for 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque if you burn the premium fuel. You also have the 3 liter diesel option, which has 305 horsepower and 495 pound-feet of torque. Again, no difference between these trucks for performance. So what's behind those engines is 10-speed transmissions. Again, no difference. Let's go ahead and check out the interiors. So this is going to be the biggest difference between these two trucks, the interior. And this is probably why most people will go with the AT4X, simply because of the options that are available. So starting with the door, you guys see, this is a really nice interior. I can't knock the AT4. I'd be completely happy with this interior design. Now, 9-speaker Bose, 10-way driver and passenger seat, heated and ventilated seats as well. But let's go ahead and check out the door for the X. It's probably hard to see on the camera, but this interior is a lot more premium, and you really see it on the speaker grill, on the stitching pattern, and you have a 12-speaker Bose sound system. Also, you have 16-way seats with a massage function, and you can also adjust the bolstering on the top part of the seat here. Shoulder support. They both have power steering columns, and if you don't know, these are real leather seats. So the fit and finish on this interior is top notch. It also has the suede on the roof, including the A and B pillars. You also have leather wrapping for the front and rear grab handles. If I were to show you what this regular AT4 has, nothing wrong with this, but you can just tell that it's just more of a downgrade. Like, even the overall interior design is still nice, but it's not as premium as the X behind me. You guys can even see the size of the seats are totally different. So here are the seats out back, full leather, seat back pockets here. You guys see the grab handle here too, just hard plastic. I do like the fact that they do give you a black liner. Sometimes, even though this is not a higher trim level truck, they'll give you a lighter color roof, and they don't do that for the AT4. But you can see here that suede right there, also leather wrapping, and then the seat size and design just looks so much more premium. You also get these premium floor liners for both trucks too, so you can't remove that carpet. 10-way seat on this side, and on the passenger seat for that AT4X it would be a 16-way too. But apart from the seats and all the adjustments, the suede on the roof, the leather everywhere, that's pretty much it. Both trucks have the 15-inch heads-up display, 12-inch gauge cluster, 13.4-inch display, heated and ventilated seats come standard for both trucks, dual climate control. The only difference on the interior that you'll see is you have those front and rear locker buttons right there. But nothing is going to really change on this interior. Now, you do have a wireless charger for both trucks. However, this camera that you saw above the cab for this was an option for the AT4, okay? Also, heads-up display is an option, and home link in that rear power sliding glass was an option, along with the sunroof. So that's pretty much why you close the gap a lot quicker on the AT4, because if you want the features I just listed, it does drive the price up. You're going to spend another $5 grand. So figure you're going to be around $7,000, apples to apples, I would say, in that ballpark. But yeah, here's the biggest difference. I'm gonna show you guys this on the AT4, and I'm gonna show you the Payload, because that's the biggest difference and why you'd probably have to stick with the AT4. You guys see the difference? They just made this downhill assist button larger. But yes, right here are the numbers on the door. The only difference is this truck does have the high clearance steps, and those are going to lower the payload slightly. So the front and rear gross axle weight rating is 3,800 pounds, 7,100 pound gross vehicle weight rating, 9,000 pounds towing capacity, and 1,493 pounds of payload. If this truck had the Carbon Pro package, that number could be maybe around 1,600 pounds, possibly. And then let's go ahead and check out for the AT4X. Well, one last thing too, 41 PSI all the way around for the tires. Now the gross axle weight rating out front on the X is going to be 3,950. My thoughts are front bumper and the locker up front are heavier, so they just raised that number a little bit. Gross axle weight rating is the same at 3,800 pounds as the AT4. Gross vehicle rating is 7,100 pounds. Now I didn't mention, but 20 by 9 wide wheels for the AT4. This X has 18 by 8.5 wide. All in payload is 1,275 pounds, and the towing capacity does go down to 8,700 pounds. So not a big drop on this truck, but that payload is a big difference for sure. You guys see gross combined weight rating is the same. And here is that yellow sticker, 38 PSI all the way around. So with this lower tire pressure, 18-inch wheels, I think softer suspension, you're gonna get a better ride with this X compared to the AT4. So for some people, that might make more sense. Now, if you get the 18s, you might be able to go down to 38 PSI for the AT4 too. So just do some of the research on that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I like the idea of the X, but man, not having as much payload is a big letdown for sure. And because you can't get that Pro or the Carbon Pro package, that's a big letdown too. But if you do need the tow trailer, I would go with the AT4. Get the standard bed too, that way you get a little bit better stability. And yeah, I think that you can't go wrong with either, but it just depends on what you're looking for. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Which truck would you pick? See you guys soon.